Hello, Port Townsend. Reverend Crystal Cox here with Goddess Church. And this is part of my series talking about the Port Townsend homeless issues. I've been homeless in Port Townsend since May of 2014, and so I'm going to share a lot of different aspects of it with you because I seem to have generated a lot of interest in the topic. And as I said in my last video, I have a unique perspective. So, this video is about the 1% tax, which will also answer questions, in my opinion, my belief, and my experience, of why there's a disconnect, why there seems to be so many people that seem to hate the homeless. Like there's this, you know what that means, right? Okay. So a year ago, might even have been 2 years ago, the Port Townsend, either Jefferson County, Port Townsend City, started talking about this tax to help the homeless, to help affordable housing. Okay? Now, if you follow the Port Townsend Free Press blog, or his page, I forget his name, you see the Cherry Street Project, right? Prime example of where the tax money for homeless and low income go. It goes to corruption. It goes to the government. It goes to a $347,000 a year wage for the city manager. Okay? The navigator, we don't have anymore, I don't think. I think he was getting like $70,000 a year to talk to the homeless and, negotiate with them and figure out what they need. So all of these government officials, $20, $30, $40 an hour and up, sit around and try to figure out what's wrong with us homeless people. They all getting big wages to do it, okay? When they get money and grants, donations to help the homeless, they spend it on a whole bunch of studies trying to figure out what's wrong with us. Are they druggies? Are they mental? Or are they people and individuals, right? No. Same for OlyCAP. We will talk about OlyCAP in another video. So when they started talking about this 1% tax a year or two ago, the public started dividing. Okay? The people who work for a living, work their butts off, right? Can't catch a break. They get huge health insurance, they get huge taxes, they get, all this punishment, it seems. While the people that are homeless get free health care, get a food card, not much, but it seems like they're getting stuff, while the people that are working their butts off, paying a huge amount of their wage in taxes, aren't getting that. Okay? Their taxes are going to the homeless and to affordable housing, and so they're angry. Rightfully so. Problem is, we're not getting the money, right? People are freezing to death in tents. People are sleeping in cars. They don't even have like a little 12-volt blanket to stay warm. Gas money. They're not allowed to park here and there. There's no bathrooms. Downtown bathrooms don't open till 8 now. There's no showers. Okay? The port used to have showers for people who lived on properties that didn't have wells. People who lived in cars, lots of people used it. But because one person destroyed the bathrooms, they punished everyone in town and shut it down. Okay? Now you can use the showers at Fort Worton. But it's kind of hard to have a job when you can't shower. Okay? So the money doesn't go to any of that. The money goes to the officials trying to figure out what's going on with us, okay? And if we apply for stuff, and I'll talk a lot more about this, but there's hoops. Okay, if you be the person I want you to be, I'll give you money. Okay, we'll give you a rent voucher, but you have to convince a landlord to take the voucher. In an area of prime real estate, where landlords can do whatever they want. I have owned my own real estate company for 20 years. I'm a managing broker of offices in many states. The last 6 years, focused on my spiritual work. My managing broker license is inactive here. Let me tell you. Port Townsend is rampant with real estate law violations. One is the fairgrounds and stuff. We will talk about that soon. But Port Townsend discriminates all the time. I was turned down for a rental once because I'm an energy healer. They can discriminate. They can say who they want and when they want and how they want to rent a room or a house because that's the market here. The market dictates it because there's a lot of wealthy people here. For example, I've sold intellectual property and got, you know, like 4,000, 10,000, got different wads of money. Wad, that's a word, right? Can't rent a place. You got to be in their system, right? You got to have credit. You got to have proof of the income. You got to have all these hoops. You can't just like rent a place and pay for it, right? I'd say at least half the people have money for a place, right? The people that live at the shelter have money. There's no places to rent that's easy to rent. And then places like OlyCAP, oh, we'll help you, but you got to be the person we want you to be, okay? You got to fill out all this paperwork. You got to jump this hoop and this hoop. And when we approve of you and our definition of success, then we'll help you out, right? And try to convince a landlord in Port Townsend. I know some people do. The low-income housing lists are long, and I know you can do it. But it's really hard to convince a landlord to take a voucher when they got all these other people that have cash. Why would they pick you? And the law violations that I was talking about, the discrimination is rampant. But what are you going to do about it? And especially if you're low income, right? You can't fight them. And the people that want to rent out rooms and stuff, you don't blame them, right? They have the pick. And they have their taxes going up and up and up. Okay? So this discussion about the 1% tax a couple years ago, I had different friends in town. I watched different things play out, different threads. They were getting more and more bitter at having to pay this tax to help these people. So it's a divide that the county has created by taxing the people to help the homeless, and the homeless don't get the frickin' money. The county does, corruption does, government officials, studies, trying to figure out how we need help. We need food, we need houses, we need warm blankets, we need somewhere to sleep indoors in private. A doghouse, a shed, a closet, anything. But nope, let's see. Let's pay this guy $75,000 a year to try to figure out what they need. You don't know what we need? What we don't need is a bunch of government. We don't need the money to go to the government. They wanted to help people. They'd bring in their grant money and all their big billions of dollars, millions, hundreds of thousands, and they would have cards, money cards, say, hey, go to, and they do this stupid homeless count too. Let's go out and count them. Want to know how many homeless there are? Offer them money. Okay, we just got a $100,000 grant. Let's pay it to some guy to study the homeless and see what they need. Or let's get $100,000 on multiple cards, like a Visa prepaid card. Leave it at the police station or wherever, some county office. The homeless can go in and pick it up. Then you know how many of them they are, and they got 20 bucks, 50 bucks, 60 bucks. Remember, I'm a crier, and it's coming. To fill their tank so they can be warm? No, your 1 hour of wage at $50 an hour would last me 2 frickin' weeks in a car staying warm. That's what they need, okay? They're all over Port Townsend. I was just going to say there was an old man sleeping. Okay, there's an old man sleeping somewhere. Slept there every year. Watch him in the car. He's a big guy sitting in the front. He's got belongings in the back. Probably could use an electric blanket. I can't help these people, right? Because I'm in a car too. I help who I can because I answer God, Goddess's prayers. I'll just find people and I'll give them money to return home and I'll try to find their family and I'll buy them a $10 radio. Do you know how important a $10 radio is to those older folks that live at the shelter? It's everything. Like last summer, you saw Mary always plugged in, listen to her clock radio. I bought her a radio and headphones so she didn't have to stay plugged into the wall. Everybody complained about it, right? All the wages of the people answering the complaints when you could have just bought her a frickin' radio. So I did. These are the solutions that actual money would help these people. Okay? So, people started getting madder and madder because of this tax. Okay, even when it was coming. Tax is coming. We're paying the tax too. So it's not just property, right? I mean, it's goods and services, right? So be a tax on for this, so the tourists can pay too. We, the homeless people, buying stuff in Port Townsend to survive, to get through, clothes, whatever, we're paying the tax too. It's not going to us. It's going to the wages of the government officials. Okay? So yeah, there's a divide. Of course. People that work at the grocery store, they're not even getting hazard pay, right? They're working their butts off. They got families, they got so much going on, and the people that aren't working, that are homeless, get their money? Of course they're upset. But that's not what's really happening. Okay, the money's not going to the people. Like I said, if they wanted it to go to the people, the tax or whatever would come in, the grants, you know, Bill Gates, all these grant money, not when we started on Gates, but you know what I mean, like the big tech companies, you get the grant money, and you don't necessarily pay the wages of OlyCAP or pay the wages of people that live in the houses to figure out what's wrong with us and give us a bunch of hoops to jump through. You just put it on a debit card so we have money. Oh no, don't give the homeless money. They're going to get drunk and they're going to get high and they're going to snort something and shoot something up. So what? People in houses are snorting and shooting stuff up too. What they do with it is none of your business. Okay? Why is it okay for the government officials to get that money and to decide what's best for us? Okay, we got brains. We are all homeless for different reasons, okay? So they don't want to help the people, and that's what's created the divide. So when I see people say, why is there so much angst against the homeless? Well, that's why, because the county and the city created it by taking the money from the hardworking people and giving it to the people who don't work. Okay, there's money for people who don't work. And there's money for people who work. Okay, don't create them as enemies. Get the city and the government officials out of the way. If the money's there and it's been there, just give it right to the people. Don't be like, I'm a big daddy. Let's see, we can't give it to the people because they might buy them their cigarettes. How do they be homeless? They got a phone. They got them their clean jeans. They ain't homeless. They ain't suffering. And then there's the people who be like, get a job. You just get a job, right? Get a job, great. I've had money. I've had chunks of money here in Port Townsend. Couldn't get into a house. I think I've already said this in this video, but I sold intellectual property for $4,000 once, sold one for $10,000, got yearly money, right? Can't prove that I'm worthy, can't prove they're gonna, you know. And then if they know you live in a car, right? Okay, don't have rental history, don't have all their hoops. But if they had a place that I could pay nightly or weekly, right? Great, I could get into it just like that. First, last, pay 6 months in advance, okay? I could go create some money and pay it. No, don't work that way. You gotta play by their rules. So, this new 1% tax, now people are upset and it's creating more issue, okay? But we're paying it too, and it's not going to the homeless, I guarantee you. They might be like, oh, well, we'll give some to OlyCAP. I'll be talking about that. The shelter is a mess. It is an abusive, narcissistic, verbally abusive, toxic, discriminating mess. Some people are like, well, we need a shelter for the people with dogs. Yeah. That's another video, though. So, the 1% tax that just came in has created more of a divide between the working people and the people who don't work. Okay, now it's hard to live in a car and work. Okay, I worked at a restaurant in town. I bathed in a sink, right? Okay, wash up in a sink so I could get to work by 6 a.m. Okay? Why don't you build us a shower? Why don't you give us some bathrooms? Why don't you give us a card for money? Why do you be like, oh, well, you can't have money because you can't be trusted because you live in a car and you must be a drug addict or some sort of a derelict. We can't trust you. But you can be trusted? Okay, now, I am not dissing the new city manager. Don't know the man. He's probably an awesome man. Well, he's from Australia. He's an Aussie. Awesome Aussie. I don't know. But $347,000 a year to manage a city of Port Townsend? Oh my God, right? What? And then the free press, the stuff about the Cherry Creek Project, prime example of where low-income housing goes. It does not go to me. It doesn't go to the people that are walking up and down the streets with their dollies and carrying all their stuff and sleeping in the woods and freezing and sleeping in their car. Don't go to them. Don't give them a hotel. Don't give them a blanket to stay warm. Don't give them gas money. It goes to the people that live in the houses. They get the wages from the taxes and the grants, not us. But it makes people understandably upset at homeless people because they're taking money. It just appears that you're getting 20, 30, 40% taxed on your income, and it's going to these people who don't get up every day and work. Okay, they're worked to death, they're not working. It's understandable that they're upset. But the money that does come in, use it to help the homeless and don't punish the working class. That's what causes the issue. Okay? So this video is about the 1% tax. And a few other things. I didn't even cry. I almost cried. Anyway, God bless you all, and there'll be more videos about different topics. Thanks for listening.